Okay. Here comes Cindy. We're missing Steve. Maybe that's it. And I should.
How much?
Okay, we still have Steve to go.
Yes. Okay. Get where the. All right, what did I do wrong here? There we go. Okay. There we go.
I've lost the screen. Can you let me back in?
You've lost the screen.
Yeah, I don't know where it went.
We haven't lost you.
We can
You're-
see.
you're in,
I
you
know,
just
but
have-
I can't.
You've clicked on
I-
another icon like mail or something else. Look at your icon. You got a Mac? Look on the dock and look at the Zoom icon that's blue with a white camera.
I don't know what that is.
You can have multiple screens or windows open. You're just not
I
on the.
don't see something. That's not it.
Do you have a Mac?
Yeah,
Where's your dock? Left
down
or
at the
up?
bottom.
Do you have a blue
Yeah, I see it.
icon?
I found it. Here we are. Thank you. Nice to have-
Okay,
Nice to have technical people on here.
let's roll. It's 2:59 and I think we're all here. We have a full agenda, so we're gonna just shuffle right along. Bylaws committee update. Thinking about a quorum, phase 3 plans and balloting. So who's gonna speak on behalf of the bylaws?
Okay, well, I'll speak. I'll say we've had, I guess, I've sort of lost count. I think we've got 3 Q&As of various sorts now. We've got another one coming tomorrow. We're planning on at least 2 more next month. We'd like to have them in Schroeder, but so far as we know, Schroeder, we don't know whether it'll be available or not. Although, Beth, we're kind of getting close. So.
We are, but we still have no hard and fast date. I will make
Okay.
sure that I let everybody know.
Okay. Well, they'll be held somewhere.
And in general, what's the, I think we've all seen the response, but how does the committee feel about the community response to the proposed bylaws?
Well, I will say I have been very encouraged. I had expected a lot more, I don't know, pushback or skepticism or something than we've heard. The response has been almost universally positive, which I think is very encouraging.
Well, even where we've had some people, thinking one little small detail might have been written differently or something, the lead on those kind of little picky things have been with saying they're wonderful overall and they're impressed. So I haven't, to my knowledge, we haven't gotten anybody saying they're unhappy with them.
That's my sense too. So I put quorum on the agenda because we keep going round and round and round, and I think it's probably a pretty simple formula.
Yeah.
Are we considering a quorum everyone who gets a ballot or everyone who submits a ballot?
Neither. A quorum is
Neither.
25% of the total population of Rose Villa. which is
Okay.
somewhere around 400 now, and maybe
Mhm.
approval on that, but a quorum is going to be around 100.
Okay. That was my thinking as well. And then 2/3 of those need to vote in favor of the bylaws, right?
Exactly.
That's right. That's
So we
right.
are all agreed.
2/3 of those who vote.
Yes.
Yeah, but only a quorum need vote. If only 100 vote, which we hope it's few more, it would be 66 of those. But it's 2/3 of the people who vote. Yes.
Well,
And at
and
least 100
bylaws say
show-
2/3 of those present. And
Well, the
we are
current bylaws. say
interpreting
that.
present to mean those vote, because
Yeah.
the voting will be in effect by absentee ballot. So all ballots submitted are sort of by definition present.
Yeah.
We might want to make
So
sure that
let's-
we know exactly what the quorum number is. I know I can put Beth on the spot here. I know the marketing number is 400, but I think the actual numbers of total population, I think the actual number is a tad bit below that.
Hang
Yeah.
on a second, let me check. You are not counting Madrona Grove residents, or
No,
you
you
are?
count-
Are
We are.
You
But
count
we
the-
don't count the Madrona Grove residents who came in from the outside.
We're not community
Right.
members. Yeah.
They're not community members, yeah.
Life plan members, which I don't think there are very many. There might be some.
But, you know, if we want an accurate number, we should
Yeah.
take those off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wrong tab. Um,
Okay, well, numbers will come through when they come through, but theoretically,
we have right now, we have 380, but that includes Madrona Grove.
Good.
okay,
And how many are in Madrona Grove?
Subtract,
32.
no, we do not have 32 right now.
Okay.
Probably 30.
I would say 30, maybe not even. Hang on a second. Let me get that correct number for you.
so let's assume 380. So 1/4 of those is going to be the quorum. And then let's say we have our quorum, let's just say for the sake of argument, our quorum is 90 people. So we can count, if we get at least 90 ballots, we're good to go. But let's say we get twice that, we get 280 ballots. So then 2/3 of the ballots sent in will determine the winner. Are we all
Yes.
agreed on that? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that in the minutes, and that's,
Yeah, and then can we get it would be nice to have on record the hard numbers.
yes,
Do you have that now, Beth?
So Madrona Grove is 25,
Okay.
and that's not total. That's the community. That's everybody who's a community member.
Okay,
Right?
and
Oh,
then in independent living, we have how many?
380. But
Three-
that 380 minus 20 minus
25.
The 380 includes Madrona Grove.
that includes Madrona Grove. So then we would
Okay.
have to take out of the 380.
7,
Four.
it sounds like. Or
4.
okay, all right, we have agreed then. But good, glad to settle that once and for
Okay.
all. Phase 3, what are you going to do differently? Do you have, aside from location, do you have your program all set up? Because I know we wanted to talk about the history and what the difference distinguish between the council, the board, RVI. And Steve prepared some slides on that. So what's the plan here? So Schroeder is a very different audience.
And
And-
I think I'm signed up for both of the shorter ones. Those are in October.
Yes.
Right.
So we'll have to, probably talk offline to plan, but it might make sense for me to go through my little short slide deck on here's how it is now and here's how it'll change, just to give them that overview, because yes, I'm
Mhm.
sure most of them have no idea how governance works today.
Okay, great. And are you going to include any legal information on that as well? In that presentation?
I think we should, yes.
So do you want to invite Kat to do that, or how's that? I mean, you guys can handle it. I'm just
Well, Kat
here.
Kat at least initiated the presentation at the Gayish and Grayish meeting last Friday, I think it was. And I thought she did an excellent job.
She did.
She does an excellent job.
It was
She
nice
really-
and
yeah.
clear and to the point. And I think we should ask her to do that again for Schroeder.
Yeah.
Because she weaves it with historical information as well. She really does a
Yeah.
good job. She went-
Okay.
yeah.
And then if you guys need help with outreach, let us know, right? I assume you're gonna do personal outreach to each of the Schroeder people?
What do you mean an email?
Well, we had
Yeah.
talked about dividing up the names just as we did for the Harvest Grill dinner.
Oh, I didn't realize we were talking about, I thought we were talking about posting flyers in their building.
Okay, well, you tell me what is going on. You tell us. Flyers in the building.
And then we thought direct flyers, but I didn't know, I don't remember that we discussed personal outreach. Not against it, I just didn't remember that we discussed it.
So what do we all think about that?
Well, it is a lot of work, but it probably wouldn't hurt.
Well, it's not a great deal of work, 10 minutes.
It's not as much work as I thought it would be.
Yeah,
I went through my list of dinner invitees today, and that was easier than I expected it to be. So,
Oh, it was a good half hour more though.
yeah,
one of the reasons I'm pressing this is because, as you will very quickly learn, the customer satisfaction survey is going to be competing for airtime during that time frame. And so we want to make sure that people know exactly what's what when they attend one meeting as opposed to another.
Well, keep in mind that won't be for phase 3, so
Well, that's true.
there'll be less confusion there.
You're right. Okay.
I guess if we're going to do it, then can people who had the lists for the bridge, the Harvest Grill, just keep the same lists and we'll notify people to do it if we decide to go ahead with that? Is everybody willing to do that? Their
Sure.
call list again?
Mhm.
I would do it, but I already ditched my list.
I can send it to you.
Okay.
Susan, you're muted.
I created the list, so I have the list. I'll just send that email again.
Okay, well, when we'll meet those of us who are presenting that day and plan it and then let you guys know.
Okay.
Which means we should meet, a week ahead or something.
And I would like to include those who don't live in phase 3, but who recently moved in.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't want to forget those stragglers. So
well, maybe somebody who doesn't have a list would take those on.
I took them on because
Oh, okay.
for the HG mixer, because some of them haven't even moved on campus yet.
Okay. And are you willing to do that for this one then too?
Yeah, I just
Okay,
want
thank
to be
you.
clear that we should not leave those people out.
If they haven't moved on campus yet, they may not technically be members of the association.
But they might by the time of the vote.
Yeah.
October 27th.
They were
Yeah.
moving in after the HG mixer, but they will be here by the time of the bylaws vote.
Okay, good.
Okay, anything else on the actual bylaw presentations?
Don't think so. That should be
Okay.
better.
Cindy and Byron, do we need to know anything about the ballot process?
I think we've got it under control. I recruited a couple more people to help. I have a box I can use for ballot box. And I'm gonna get the ballots made up and printed. I don't know if you guys want to see them before they get printed.
It's yes or no, right?
Yeah, well, it's gonna have instructions, return this ballot to the resident services counter type of stuff, but by such and such a date.
Wouldn't hurt to have one more pair of eyes that has not worked on it at all to look at it.
I'll look at it, Cindy, since you and I have been going
Okay,
back and
all
forth
right.
about that. About how
If
to,
there's
I
somebody-
haven't made it up yet, but I'll do that real soon.
if you can't get to the resident services counter for some reason, is there an alternative way to get your ballot delivered?
You can slide it under, yeah, I'm gonna put a phone number to call me and I'll come and pick it up.
yeah.
Yeah, good, okay, okay.
Is there a reason you've chosen not to use one of the lock boxes on the wall near the old mailroom?
Yeah, don't do that. Put a box out where people can see it, please. Yeah.
So you opted not to use the system we've used before?
Well, those boxes aren't very big. This is hundreds of ballots potentially.
Well, they would be picked up regularly, but I'm just asking you, and you intentionally
Well,
are
that's
using a different
that's the
system.
reason. I'm afraid the little box would get too full in between. What if everyone decides to vote right after lunch on the last day or something? So I'd rather have a big box available.
Okay.
Clearly marked.
The downside with resident services is they're closed evenings and weekends, and if people don't realize they could slip it under the.
I will put that
wall,
on the ballot. If
They
they're
might
closed,
not.
slip it under the curtain.
I would actually recommend that if resident services counter is closed, that they give the ballot to the receptionist.
Yeah,
Ah,
that's what I think.
that's a
It
good
should be the
idea.
receptionist.
And then the receptionist can then put it into the box.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
I think
And
that's a
the
good idea.
the recommendation would be to do this during reception hours
Mhm.
and not after hours.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Okay, moving on. Harvest Grill Mixer. Andrea, where do we stand?
As of about an hour ago, we have 75 people registered. There is-
Wow.
Yeah, and well, 30 are from phase 3.
No, good.
The other groups are 18, 15, and 12. I don't have the numbers. I can get them, but I didn't write down how many had not been to the previous mixer. I don't know if you want to know that or not.
How many
I
can you handle?
Yeah, that's the big question. Are we going over? Am I at waiting list?
Let me, actually, one of us needs to call Noreen and ask her. Last time we discussed this with her, she said we could always add outside tables.
The
So,
forecast for that day is 80 degrees,
Oh, God.
77 degrees at that time of day.
Not bad.
No.
The one downside with outside is people are complaining about wasps.
Hmm.
attacking
That's
the food.
true.
can we let Andrea take care of this? Talk to Noreen and decide the best
Sure.
course of action? Mayo, yes, you have your hand raised.
You're
You're muted.
Got the 4 people that John Seald was worried about from
Yep.
the last. Okay.
Thank you.
Question number 2, I haven't called any of my people. Are they already on the list?
If you haven't called anybody, I wouldn't bother at this point, since we'll probably get more people between now and Wednesday. But I would like to note that half of the people coming are phase 3, and I think that's a direct result of our personal outreach. We phoned people up and said, please come. So it works.
So
Some
all
of
the-
them got 2 calls because I called John Seals by mistake and then I called 9.
I hesitated to send the full list to everybody in case that happened, but
Yeah, sorry, but I know.
Don't admit it, Cindy, don't admit it.
all these
Mayo.
people on the second floor or whatever 820 whatever.
Yeah, just skip, don't worry about it at this point. Okay, Andrea, what do you need from here going forward?
I need you and a couple more people on Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock in the training room to assign tables.
Okay, volunteers.
I encouraged people to volunteer because it was kind of fun. We're going to be out of town, or I would.
Okay,
Okay.
Susan, I see your hand.
I have to see, what is it, this Thursday?
Yeah, this Thursday at 3 o'clock.
Sure, I can.
Takes about an hour.
Let me look since it's right next door.
Okay, that's,
Today at 3 o'clock.
That'll do
And you
it.
said the training room? Did you say the
Mhm.
training room?
Yes.
okay,
so I have
that'll do it.
Susan-
We're good.
Susan, Louise, Mayo, Marilyn, me. Okay.
Thursday, 3 o'clock. Okay.
Next on the agenda is the customer satisfaction survey.
Mm.
And Steve is going to need to share screen, Paul.
Okay.
Steve and I met last week with Holleran and got the bones of the project, which he's going to walk you through.
Let's see. Marilyn, I was thinking it might be good to, for step one, walk through the overall schedule to kind of get
Yeah.
everybody calibrated.
Uh-huh.
And so
All right, now you're a co-host.
okay. Yes, that looks better.
This stupid thing.
Schedule. Ooh, no, that doesn't.
It's going to be a crunchy month, October, because we've got
Yeah.
the Holleran process going on, the bylaws process going on, and searching for nominees. So
And Halloween.
And can I throw in something? I sent an email, but Vassar has this
can
woman.
you hold that till later, Cindy? It's on my mind.
All right.
Okay, hopefully you see a schedule in
Nope.
October,
Only
November,
Kind of
December.
bare bones.
We see
Bare
months.
bones. It's a build.
Ah,
Okay, so September 30, which is next Friday, the initial questions are due. Meryl and I have developed some initial set of questions. I think 9 or 10 of them. We meet with Tina on Wednesday and maybe Beth, not sure, to go over questions. The goal is to have an initial question set by Friday and a week after that to have the final questions. So that's kind of the beginning. Looking at the other end, we get the final report December 9. The devil, of course, is in the detail between. We have the actual surveys being delivered, like by either email or handing out the printed ones on the 24th, and they're due then on the 13th. So that's the time frame where they would be in people's hands. And there's some reminders that Holleran puts out to people on email in between. And so that's basically the schedule, which means we have from now to October 24 just to sort of roll this out, and then kind of that reminder period while people have it to encourage them to return it. Meanwhile, we have opportunities like October 3rd, the council meeting. We're looking at maybe being kind of the official rollout. And again, that would be the other thing we'll talk with Beth and Tina about on Wednesday, because we want certainly that to be a joint rollout. We've got then, of course, on the 18th, a forum, and on the November 7th, another council meeting. So in terms of already scheduled events during this time frame, that's the other things that are going on. So that is the basic schedule, and we're again putting together some plans on how to market it. We'll probably most likely be talking to the council maybe at this October 3 meeting about having maybe a drawing with some small prizes, but something just to add a little excitement to it. That's something that Holleran encourages. And let's see, so that's the basic overall time frame that we've got. And by the way, part of the, we've mentioned that clearly the other thing going on here is the bylaws process. And part of the, I think the story here, the message that I think works pretty well is that the survey and the bylaws go hand in hand pretty well, because the whole idea in the bylaws is to have an even more effective council, and the survey is pretty important information for both the council to figure out priorities, because their job is to represent our mutual concerns, but also it's obviously important information for management also. So the two go together nicely. We'll have hopefully some new bylaws at the end of the year, a more empowered council, and at the same time they'll have this data, this information that actually gives them an idea of what priorities to focus on. So that's kind of the underlying concept. So that's basically the schedule. And now, let's see, we can pause for questions while I try to switch my share to the actual sample questionnaire.
Ooh.
Take your time on that, Steve. Feedback on the timeline.
I like that we're gonna get actionable data results in time for the new counselors to step up on the new council and have a good launch in January.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
it's a very crowded October.
It is.
Yep.
But I agree, it's worth it.
Well, and it seems to me the overlap with the bylaws vote is only a few days, which is good. Hopefully the bylaws process will have kind of energized everybody. So they'll be ready to cast their vote and then fill out a
Well, if I get any
survey.
surveys in the ballot box, I'll give them to Steve.
I was.
It won't. They're
was
mostly going to be
thinking-
electronic.
I was just thinking, I hope that they won't get things mixed up and think filling out the survey is voting for the bylaws.
So,
Well,
so
what-
are all the survey, are they all electronic, or can people use paper if they want?
There will be a written option.
Okay.
Yeah, because not everybody can handle
right.
online.
But the majority will be electronic, and we will never see papers from them. They'll
Correct.
all go to Holleran. Now, in order to manage this chaos a little better, I decided to just segment the bylaws committee, let you guys do your thing, wrap it up. And you don't need to worry about the survey, and another group of people will take care of the survey. And we'll be aware that we're both functioning in the same time period, but nobody's gonna have to, except me and Steve, are gonna have to worry about overlap. So the team for this is going to be Steve and me and Susan. And we've asked, we thought Bill Kunitz would be a really good person on messaging because he's been through this with another CCRC.
Oh.
Kathy Shar, we've included, she brings in the foundation perspective and a different cohort. And Jan Wainscott. So,
Good.
Good team.
and if anybody else on this team is just dying to do some more work, let me know after this meeting. Cindy,
I'm hiding under my
you're
desk.
usually the first one to say, me.
There is a limit, and I hit it.
Great, glad to hear you say that. So Steve, are you ready with the questions?
Yes, as long as I can find the right document, which I think I did. Hopefully you are seeing it. Well, let's see, let me start at the top. There is, we may well tweak this. This is the standard boilerplate letter that Holleran does. What happens in the survey is it starts with what they call some engagement questions. These are fixed. These are chosen by Holleran, not by us. And they fall into some categories. First, engagement with community. So on a scale of 1 to 5, strongly disagree or agree, it's, administration makes a sincere effort to address issues. There are a variety of ways for residents to have their voices heard. Roseville is transparent and keeps residents informed. Then there's engagement with others. Roseville encourages residents to find a sense of belonging, to be socially active as they'd like to be. They support and encourage a welcoming environment, and the environment at Roseville encourages social interaction amongst residents. Then there's the life goals, which encourages me to pursue meaning in my life. I'm able to maintain aspects of my life from before coming here that are important to me, helps me live the life I want, and I feel appropriately challenged and stimulated living here. And then finally, health and wellness. Appropriate resources to help residents adapt to life changes, supports residents in achieving health and wellness goals, offers resources to help residents maintain and improve overall health and well-being, and then finally supports residents' ability to cope with the challenges that aging can bring. So again, those we don't get to choose. Those are standard in this option for the survey. And then there's a
And
comment.
those are the questions that are used as benchmark for comparison with other CCRCs.
Mhm.
So they've worked with over 350 CCRCs that are using these same questions.
Mhm.
Yep. And actually now then there are 20 more questions. The first one we don't get to choose, so we only get to choose actually a total of 19. The one we don't get to choose is the overall satisfaction question. So we get to arm wrestle with Beth and Tina over with 19 to be chosen, who gets to choose 10 and who gets to choose 9. Another opportunity for collaboration or tossing a coin or something. So these are the ones that again, yeah, there are 20 questions, minus the one that we don't get to choose. These also actually are benchmarked though, or at least let me back up. The ones that Marilyn and I have are recommending here are all of the benchmark list. Tina and Beth, they have both a benchmark list and additional questions for which they just don't have enough data to benchmark, and they can pick from either or both lists. These are all out of the benchmark list. So again, it's overall satisfaction. It's long-term confidence in Rosevilla's future, fulfillment of expectation. Oh, let me back up, actually. Part of what we used as a guide here is in the Let's Talk, we got this great bottom-up community process of identifying issues. And in the survey, we got some numbers associated with those. And we really used that as a lot of the guidance here because it raised up the issues that people are concerned about. And we'll talk this through obviously with Beth and Tina, but the idea is Beth and Tina can focus on other areas of community. But that's kind of where most of these questions focus on, are the questions that really were raised up through the Let's Talk process. So fulfillment of expectations as promoted by marketing was certainly one of those. Effective management of community growth and changes, that was a concern issue. Responsiveness of administration, opportunity for resident input, confidence in emergency medical response, upkeep and repair to buildings, timely response to maintenance requests, dining options like dress code, but choices, hours, etc., and effectiveness of the resident council. We figured that I think this is the only question in there about governance on the resident side, and that seemed like a reasonable one, especially for us to track over time.
Yep, yep, I love it.
So those, and now I think that was what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we went for the gusto and went for 10 as opposed to 9.
I respect that. I like gusto.
But so that leaves 9 more, and again, those the rest of them, 9 or 10 depending, would be selected by Beth and Tina.
I have a clarification question.
Sure.
Does their survey require that we pick from canned options?
It does not require that. It only requires that if you want the results to be benchmarked with other results from other CCRCs. You can, there are options where you can create your custom questions, but of course, being custom, they likely would not be benchmarked.
So you are saying that you and Marilyn recommended items that match the Let's Talk feedback that are benchmarked.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
And Tina may or may not do that.
Right, because there's another long list of questions that are not benchmarked that she could also select from.
Are there other benchmark items that she could pick from?
Oh yes, there's a bunch. Believe
It's
me,
a very, very long list.
Yeah, it's there are many. The challenge is to get down to 20, really, but yes, there are others. Now beyond these, there are a couple of more. I think a couple more. Well, one other sort of yes, no. Would you recommend Rosevilla to a friend or relative? Again, this is a standard question together with the overall satisfaction question. And then they have some open-ended ones, which again are just their standard that they strongly recommend. What do you like best about Rosevilla, and what would you suggest improving at Rosevilla? Now, the next category, and this is the other thing we'll have to talk through with Beth and Tina, is you get some demographic selections to choose. And these, the ones that are highlighted in yellow are the ones that are standard that we get, but we don't get to choose. So length of residence is one. And thinking about the good and bad in your quality of life, how would you rate the quality of your life as a whole is one. The two that we thought would be good to add to that were education level and in general, how would you rate your overall health status? Oh, okay, year of birth, I went right over that one. But so a total of 5 demographic categories is what we get. And I should have noted what were the other options. One was basically race. And honestly, we thought that there probably was not enough racial diversity on campus to make that very interesting. And the other was
gender and marital status.
And how do you think about your overall financial situation was the other one. So yeah, those were the other options. These seemed like the ones that would perhaps give us the most insightful breakdowns, because that's what you get with these, right? Is the results broken down by these categories.
Yeah.
And that is it.
Did they share what the results look like?
Yes.
We have a sample report that we can make available for people to read.
Yep, we can send that out to if you'd like to take a look at that. But yes, and it's a sample of exactly this type of survey that has the engagement questions followed by the 20 satisfaction questions.
I think it would be really helpful to people to understand the final product and how this comparison with other places is a real strength to this kind of a tool.
Yeah, we can provide that. They gave us a sample. I'm actually not sure. We didn't ask if it was a made up sample or an actual sample with the names
Said
changed.
it
But
was made up. It wasn't an actual one.
I think it was probably made
It was,
up.
yeah.
So if there are not a lot of questions, how about suggestions? For example, Susan just said it would be really good to make the sample report available. Given that there's going to be a whole lot of messaging going on about a variety of things, let's hear your genius ideas.
I think it might be useful to clarify how the bylaws revision and this survey will work together. So people can understand that they're separate things, but they're complementary. How does all this fit into the big picture? Because remember, we're having a bylaw vote, and then we're voting on counselors, And this would help to establish the priorities for the resident council and Roseville administration. So it makes sense to gather all this data and be ready for a exciting launch in January.
And my bias is that that's perhaps the single most important message, that high level message to get across.
And Beth will be talking to you and Tina about the face of collaboration, what it's going to look like. And, you know, if we want to do joint presentations, for example, if we wanted to have a campus-wide educational, we would want it to be sponsored by both the council and RVI.
Absolutely.
It's a little dicey about when you start to promote the survey, because it really does need to be promoted before the bylaws vote ends. I mean, you can't just all of a sudden, there's this thing in my email, what's it about? No, you're going to need a week or two lead to get into it.
We've got about 2 weeks before the ballots come out, that we can roll various devices out.
The council meeting is right there, of course, this coming Monday. So
Well, you're contemplating having a sort of an open informational meeting where everybody can come to it and find out, ask whatever questions they might have about the survey.
we're working on that plan, I think, is the fair answer.
Okay.
The team just came together, and we haven't even sat down with Tina and Beth yet. So it's a work in progress. We're building the airplane just in time for it to take off the runway, I think.
Well, all those dates that you showed us a minute ago would be opportunities to wed bylaws, resident councilor votes, and survey together as a bundle.
Yep.
So that message is unified.
Yes.
And here's the deadline for this, here's the deadline for that, here's the deadline for that. So that it's not just, oh my God, what's the next thing they're throwing at us? It's like we're throwing everything at you from the beginning. And you see, this is the focus, this is the focus, here's the timeline.
It's a good idea.
And Steve, at some point, those dates would be a good thing to post regularly, as you're doing with upcoming things that on your daily activities. And run them just like you're running the ones that are there now, so that people see them over and over again.
Yeah, good.
That's a daily advertisement for important stuff.
Right.
We're thinking of doing little testimonials, minute-long testimonials from a variety of residents that would appear on the daily activities.
Ah, good idea.
Very cool.
Like a little video that you click on, you mean?
So far, the ads on the daily email have all been static. So this is a brave new world.
Whoa.
They could replace the photograph.
Not replace.
Well, I know, but people love to look at that. So their eyes go there and they get a new thing, which is a video they can click on. I think that it might be a great way to make it the feature, because everybody has the habit of pausing and looking at those photographs.
Yeah.
The photographs could be of people turning in their ballot.
That too. Yeah, I mean, you could
photos.
use that. No,
Folding it carefully, putting it in the box.
So if we start the testimonials, we'll be sure to include promos for both, for
Yeah.
voting for the bylaws and the satisfaction survey.
Yep.
Joint
marketing.
Something memorable, like.
Well, triple play.
Carrying
This is a
box.
triple play coming up, guys. Triple play.
we could have Teddy carrying one to the box.
Oh, Teddy.
Well, somebody could wear the box.
I found this on the web.
Okay. Any other good ideas?
Wear the box.
Andrea?
I hear people saying, take pictures of people putting the ballot in the box. However, we have asked people to return their ballot to resident services or the front desk. People, as I get it, are not going to be putting the ballot in the box.
Well, right.
True.
I thought there would be a box there at resident services for them to put
There
in.
will, but the resident services people will actually put the ballots in the box.
Oh, okay,
Because aren't they keeping track of who's voted?
yeah.
No,
No.
where
Not that
every
one.
ballot is gonna have a secret number and the numbers are assigned to people. So only the elections committee will know what number goes with with what person. That's how we're gonna track them.
You guys could stage a photo, the resident services person
Yeah.
could be holding the box for some, I mean, come on,
That'd
it
be
is a-
great.
a
We can
literal
figure it
thing.
out.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, be careful.
I have great trust with Marilyn and Steve's video stuff. They're the most, well, actually, Andrea, you're the executive producer of that stuff too. But
Yeah.
you guys have a great track record.
And Cindy used to edit, but I hesitate to ask her to do one more thing. I'm looking.
I
asking
always
about,
am up for editing videos, so don't worry.
you have to start saying no, Cindy.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Didn't you see me hide under the desk before?
That was very good.
Okay, anything else on this topic? Then I think we have time for, do we have time briefly for the report from Susan, Louise, and Cindy about the culture of dialogue? Or do you want to hold that off till next time?
I believe we gave an update last time that we had a discussion and I had drafted an outline and it'll be shared according to Cindy's timeline and
Can you send it to us so it goes into, I didn't put it in minutes. I
guys,
think
what do
you
you
must
think?
have sent it to the council.
It's going to go out with the agenda.
Okay,
Wasn't this going on the exec committee agenda?
Yeah, the exec
Cindy?
committee already got it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think that was the next step, if I remember right, was
Yeah.
an exec committee discussion.
okay.
Well, wait a second. Cindy thought that happened already. Steve thinks it's yet to happen.
I thought I sent it to the exec committee.
Oh. You did.
It hasn't been
And
discussed yet.
I was gonna send it to the council and not really discuss it, but just, look, guys, here it is, read it over. And we'll actually start discussing it in the future, but I want them to have it to look at and think about.
But is there still a disconnect between Steve doesn't think that this has been discussed at exec council and you think it has?
It's been sent to them. It's been
But not
sent.
discussed.
I think that's correct. Yeah.
Well, wouldn't
Yeah,
it be
that's-
discussed by them before being sent to the council itself?
Yeah.
It was discussed by email, kind of.
Okay, can we let the council figure this out since
Yeah.
their business and not ours?
Yep.
Okay,
So are you still asking that I send it to this committee? Or not?
I thought it would be good for us to see it since the discussion emerged out of this committee. Yeah, if you send it to us, I'll just pop it in with the minutes.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna move on now, and thank you, Beth, for your attendance today. Okay, so we have a couple of things. We were talking last time about how to deal with the aftermath of Vassar and North Star. And since one of the tasks of this committee is to focus on communication between all kinds of entities, including the council and management. I've had a couple of people express concern that just as the council is about to pass bylaws that encourage group decision-making, including amongst the executive council, especially as regards communication with management. We now have a precedent where, I mean, I think Cindy, you thought it was a really great idea to edit questions and take those questions to management. But some people have been saying, this isn't the process that we're trying to work towards. And furthermore, residents want to ask their own questions. So I thought
Right.
just pitch that open.
Okay, so, and there's been a development. So let me just say what I think, and then I'm totally happy to listen to feedback. So first of all, Vassar has an expert coming. A woman named Mary Munoz, who's with Ziegler, the company that's been doing the financing for Rose Villa, I guess all along is what she said. And for all the different phases, this woman is going to be here on October 7th. And Vassar wants to invite the whole council to lunch and have her give a presentation to the council about the plan, you know, for North Star, I guess. So, and this, you know, this is like a unique opportunity. This woman isn't here very often, if at all. So
Where is
I
she
think we
from?
kind of have to go with that.
Why?
And then she wants to have,
Excuse me,
what?
where is she
let's-
from that she's not? I just wondered to clarify this. Is she not from here?
No, she's from out of town.
Okay,
I think she's on the East Coast. I'm not really sure. I can check.
okay.
Anyway, then she wants to have a meeting with the whole community that same day at 3:30. In fact, she's scheduling a meeting with the whole community that day at 3:30. So no involvement of the council with that. Mary Munoz is gonna give the same basic presentation to the community that she's gonna give to us as to the council. And then there's going to be an opportunity for questions. Now, personally, I still think it would be a good idea to have some questions prepared up front, not to take up the whole time by any means. I want people to have a chance to ask their own questions, but just enough so that we make sure that at least we start off with some intelligent questions and cover the important points. Because, you know, what I don't want to see happen is here we have this great opportunity, and worst case scenario, the people who happen to be called on have a bunch of off the wall questions, and we never get to any good questions. And excuse my value judgments here. I'm trying to find a politically correct way to say it, but I'm struggling. So anyway, that would be the plan, and I would try to get some person who's really good at communications, and I'm looking at somebody on my screen who's in a white shirt, but never mind, who I might try to beg to take on this role. And you know, I think Vassar is planning, well, it's at 3:30. I expect this initial segment where we did the questions that we came up with, say as a council or a group, would take, say, 20 minutes or so. It wouldn't be very long, and then we could open it up. So first there's a presentation, then there's questions to make sure we get the important questions in, and then it's opened up to the community for people to ask.
Okay,
There are
let's take questions at this point. First of all, is this fixed in stone or is it open?
No, what's fixed in stone is Mary Munoz is coming on October 7th, and Vassar is going to invite the council to lunch and to hear a presentation. And Vassar is going to invite the community to a meeting at 3:30.
So that is
Those are
fixed in
both
stone.
fixed in stone?
Sorry?
Those are fixed in stone?
Yeah, well, they're Vassar's thing.
Was this her response to what you set up to
No, she came up with it totally on her own.
okay.
Mayo, you want to say something?
The Sunday is community.
Sorry?
Or
Say again.
9th?
The 7th.
Oh,
The
no, the
7th.
same day, the same day. Okay.
Yeah, because this woman will only be in town on that day.
Okay, I thought I heard Sunday, but thank you.
Paul
But
has his
what-
hand up.
What is the relationship to Ziegler and us that Vassar has to bring this person in? Is that clear?
Well, I was trying to Google it a little bit. She is the person at Ziegler, who's some kind of investment company that specializes in senior communities.
They are our bond agent. They have helped do all of the bond deals that have been done to finance phase 1, 2, and 3. And so they have some expertise when it comes to funding developments, and presumably know a little bit about the senior community, but primarily that's their expertise, is in funding, bond funding for for developments. But we have two things here, right? We have her visiting, and we still have the issue of some Q&A for Vassar, right? These are
Yes.
two separate things
Yes.
on the table, I think.
Right. Well, and
Yes.
this will be Q&A for this woman, mostly, I expect, although I also think Vassar will be there and we could ask her if we want to. But then Vassar is leaving town, like the next day for a 3-week vacation.
Paul has his hand up. He's been waiting patiently.
I guess my basic question is, if this is supposed to be about North Star, which North Star is it going to be about? North Star seems to change from day to day.
I don't know.
So if we're preparing questions, how can we do that if we don't even know what we're talking about?
Right.
Well, I can try to get more information. Ask Vassar if she can give us a little more background.
Did you said said you had a prepared list of questions?
Well, I do. They're basically based on Steve's questions and some things other people sent me, but they're the obvious questions like, well, why will current residents get out of this? What's the benefit to current residents? What's the downside risk to current residents? What's the worst case scenario? Again, for the community. And then there's a few more little specific questions, but along those lines.
Louise, you have your hand up.
My concern is, I along with what Paul said, that this is the bond person, this Ziegler representative, but Vassar's using our money to fund this. So what has this to do with bonds? And we don't know yet what Vassar is doing. So to bring someone else, to me, muddies it up. We haven't had a chance to ask Vassar our questions. That's all.
Well, I don't see how we can do it before October 7th. If you want to ask Vassar those questions at this meeting, that might be appropriate.
This feels like a distraction or a diversion from our desire to speak with her. I just, people riled at the fact that she brought some guy to the resident council. Like, we didn't ask to speak with some guy. We asked to speak with you.
Vassar.
So
Mhm.
this part feels really uncomfortable to me. And then she's gone for 3 weeks. It's like, I'll
Yeah.
just pat them on the back and I'll have this big person do mumbo jumbo financial talk, and then clearly they'll all settle down. I mean, it doesn't feel respectful.
It's so disrespectful. At a minimum.
I think I agree with both of you wholeheartedly. I guess Vassar does have the right to call meetings, and we have the choice as to whether to attend. But I'm concerned also, and I've expressed this to Cindy, that I think everything around this issue is highly fraught emotionally with a great many residents, and that the council needs, and we're the communication committee supporting the council's success, to have the residents feel like they have the freedom to ask their own questions and not have it controlled by a single person, even if it's the chair, Cindy. Because
No, not
I mean,
me.
we all saw the reaction when Jerry tried to shut down the
Yeah.
discussion.
No, no,
You
no,
heard the-
I wasn't gonna be the one to ask the questions. All I wanna do is have a brief period where the very most important questions get asked by somebody, definitely not me, and then open it up to the community.
Well, and I agree that it is probably a good idea to figure out some methodology to determine the most important questions. But I don't think we're in any rush. I think how we process this may be the first step in establishing this council as following the new bylaws to have to allow residents an open way to communicate their concerns, which means that, and my thought of it is that there's a resident council meeting where the main topic is letting residents, not talking to Vassar, but among residents to their council, talking about what their questions are and letting them go through the messy process of saying, and somebody saying, well, maybe some of the questions are up here under dissatisfaction or concern with current conditions at Rose Villa, and others are over here with just North Star questions. But you let that happen we live what we're trying to sell with these bylaws, and we
Well,
model
okay.
it and let people feel heard, which will
That
take a
sounds
couple
great.
months before we take questions to Vassar.
Well,
That's my thought on how to do it. There may be better ideas, but I think the process.
Can that happen before October 7th?
No,
It doesn't
No.
have
No.
to.
doesn't have.
So we're definitely having this thing on October 7th, and then we could request another meeting,
Let's-
in November.
Let's just be clear about what's happening. This is Vassar's due. So let her do her due. And not worry about whether all of our questions get answered, because we're not sponsoring this. She is, and she will conduct it as she sees fit. So let's not get contaminated here and try to influence what she's doing to turn it towards our goals.
Okay.
Which
I have
means
no
that people-
idea what this is going to be about, and I suspect most residents are going to be as confused as I am. I think you're absolutely right, Marilyn. This is Vassar's thing, whatever it is, and I can't help being suspicious that there's some element of pulling wool over eyes involved here. Maybe not, but I'm certainly willing to. Well, I've got a personal problem. I can't attend the meeting because I've got a doctor's appointment that afternoon, but that's beside the point. What concerns me isn't asking the right questions, it's encouraging the right attitude, for lack of a better word, in the resident community itself. And I think the way to do that is to let Vassar present whatever she's going to present, and then let people ask whatever questions they want to ask. And there are no right questions or important questions. It's too soon for that, but it's not too soon to try to establish a little bit more of a sense that there's some genuine communication here. I'm afraid that if we have some sort of canned questions that get asked, it's going to give the impression that the whole thing is staged. And that's exactly what we want to avoid.
And I don't think we want the council to usurp resident voices and ask questions
Right.
on behalf of the residents.
Okay,
Right.
so I'm hearing that's a bad idea. I'm not married to it.
Well, and if it's her show, Cindy, let her handle the questioning. Why
Yeah.
should it's her show. She brought it to you, and she's the one who should field the moderation of it. She can bring Beth in to do that or something, but it's not the council's job to help moderate her show.
Okay.
And then there will be another opportunity
Hmm.
to do, Cindy, what you're imagining.
We hope. I mean, but
Well-
Vassar seems pretty agreeable to meeting with the residents. You know, maybe when she gets back and she's home for a week, we can have another meeting.
And Steve wants to chime in here. He's got his hand up.
Yeah, and sorry, my video isn't working. I have a technical problem of some sort, but yeah, I guess that's what I was going to suggest is let's treat these separately. I have honestly no idea what questions to even prepare for this upcoming meeting next week, because I mean this is a bond salesperson basically, and I think, and who knows, building new sites was something that was going to be on the back burner from last we heard from the council meeting. So, you know, let's see what she has to say. But I think maybe we can go ahead and try to organize a Q&A for Vassar, which I think we really need to do, because people really did get cut off and they really would like to have a chance to extend that. So yeah, I think we can treat that as a separate thing. And yeah, if it has to happen by when she's back from vacation, I don't think there's any
There's no
super
rush.
urgency behind that.
Well, what would feed my understanding of the need for urgency or lack thereof is, when is she going to start to spend money on North Star? Or has she started already?
She already is.
Well, to
Well,
some
her
extent,
salary has already, I mean, her time has already.
yeah. There's employees who are working part-time on North Star already.
Is
So
she
she's already
committing to a
spending
specific project before we have had enough opportunity to
I
talk?
don't know.
We don't know,
Or is this going to go ahead no matter what we say?
probably.
Well, what she said at the council meeting is that they're trying to figure out what North Star is. They're nowhere near actually spending money on doing something. They're just spending money on themselves.
Right.
And they don't have a business plan yet. They have admitted that. And I doubt very much that she'll ask much money to go from Roseville Inc. to North Star until there is at least a business plan, or God, I would hope the board would be asking questions about that. So yeah, I guess that's my sense too, is that I don't think it's an immediate issue, except that, I mean, sure, you know, her salary is part of it's going to it and part of others. So it's not as if there's no expense, but there's not a huge out of pocket beyond the staff time so far.
Well,
Also,
we run over time.
I have one more thing.
Louisa's had her hand up.
Just one quick question then. So I want to say, are you all agreeing that we'll go ahead with this meeting with Vassar, and she'll have this person talk, and then if there's time for a few questions, you just let the questions come up, whatever they are. And then what we say to Vassar in closing is, we want another meeting with you, please, Vassar, because we have a lot of questions.
Something
Which she already offered to do. So yes.
We'll
Maybe
say
she
that
thinks
separately.
that this meeting meets that need. It does not meet that need. is
That's
what I-
right.
Judy, you're on.
Okay, I just wanted to say, because Cindy expressed a concern that Vassar might not agree to meet with us. I think having a council meeting with residents discussing this and a vote on the council, you going by yourself is one thing, but the executive committee taking a vote that the residents have voted and the council has voted to request these meetings is powerful.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
agree.
part of what we tried to set up with these new bylaws, is the ability to have that more powerful framework that makes it a lot harder to turn it down.
That makes sense.
Yeah, the counselors can make a motion and vote on it, that she be asked to come back for a special meeting to answer questions.
Okay.
Okay, I think we are about finished. Andrea?
I would just counsel, be sure that the resident body knows that the meeting that Vassar is holding on Friday, October 7th is not the meeting
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
that
Good
people
point.
might be hoping for.
Right.
I don't know how you make that clear, but I think that's important.
Well, perhaps it could be made clear at the resident council meeting on Monday
Yeah.
Yes.
with a very clear statement. We're happy to attend, but it does not replace.
A special meeting.
Right.
Can
Good.
Mondays
That's good.
have a topic on discussing the questions people might have? And
Well, I
then,
thought you guys didn't want to do that.
Well,
Okay, we're not
I
going to
should-
do council business right now. It's 6
Right.
after.
Yeah. Okay.
The executive committee has to sort all that stuff out. Is there
Okay.
anything else on our agenda that needs to be discussed. Okay. Just one last thing. John Seal has said that she's ready to exit this committee because her commitments to resident council are much more onerous than she had anticipated. And we've already lost Jerry. So I'm imagining that when the bylaws, come the turn of the year, that we'll do some reconfiguring in this committee. So
Don't we need some phase 3 people?
that would be good, I think. So just be thinking about it between now and then. Yes, Mayo, what?
Yeah, I'll be graduating too, so
Okay,
that'll help you.
all right. Thank you all. See you in 2
Thanks.
weeks.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye.